Our purpose at WE is to change the dismal statistics of our people, particularly Māori and Pacifica people. We do this through helping small and medium-sized businesses to thrive. Our businesses need our help. So many have felt the pressures of lockdown and are facing challenges that they've never faced before. Challenges that are impacting their livelihoods. That is why we're bringing you this series to share stories of the people behind our businesses, their successes, their failures, their challenges, and their triumphs.
If you are already in business, we hope you will be inspired. Perhaps someone will share one piece of gold that makes a difference in your business. If you've been thinking about starting a business, we hope that you will be motivated to start your own business venture.
We hope that by sharing these stories, we can help small businesses on the road to recovery all across New Zealand, Australia, and the Pacific.
So grab your cup of tea and whakarongo mai. Kia ora te whānau no mai, haere mai. Welcome to our Cup of Tea with WE tonight, where we're speaking with Sarah Colcord from Chooice, which you might have seen all over Facebook, particularly over the COVID period. So welcome, Sarah. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Now, we were just talking before, so you're Samoan from the island of Savaii.
Yes, I am, and from the villages of Malie and Whingas. Yep.
Very cool. Have you been back there recently?
No, so born and raised in New Zealand, have not had the pleasure of going back to home yet, and neither has Mum, but it's on the to-do list when things come back to normal, I guess.
Yeah. You'll need a break after all of this. Go to the sunshine somewhere. It's beautiful.
Go hide in the islands, absolutely.
And they have the internet, so you can still work from there too, which is great.
Oh, man.
So tell me a little bit then. So you were born in and brought up in New Zealand. So tell me a little bit about what your childhood looked like for you.
Yep. So I was born in Papakura, which is in South Auckland. Raised my entire life in Manerioa, in a particular area called Weymouth. Went to all of the local schools from primary, intermediate, and high school. So did all of my siblings. Just for some more context, I have 5 brothers and 5 sisters. So a typical big Samoan family. And I'm nicely in the middle, number 5. Wow. And yeah, my childhood was, I guess it was, I like to say it was pretty normal. We had a lot of financial struggles growing up. Dad was the sole provider for pretty much our whole lives. And I think Mum started work as soon as the last child, number 10, was in primary school. But by the time he was in primary school, I think I was just leaving high school. But because Dad was the sole provider throughout our whole childhood, things were pretty hard. And he's actually been a small business owner his whole entire working life as a mechanic. And so, yeah, home-based small business is what I grew up with, surrounded by. That like so many cars in our driveway. That's all I remember. The smell of oil, my dad's tools constantly going, and him working nonstop, and the phone always going off. One of his clients calling saying, "Is my car ready?" or like, "Is your dad there?" or something like that.
So entrepreneurship's like in your blood.
Well, yeah. Now that I realize, I have been surrounded by pretty much, you could say, small business my literally entire life, with my dad having led the way with his home-based mechanic or automotive services at home. But in terms of myself pursuing that, no, it's quite foreign to me, actually, business. Although Mum likes to remind me that when I was younger, I was quite entrepreneurial in the sense that I would like wait for the feijoa tree to blossom, take the feijoas off, and then go hassle all of the houses down our street to buy the $3 bag of feijoas. and I'll do that every year and make like a good $40. She likes to remind me of that.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And so what were you doing before you started Chooice, which was New Zealand made, right?
Yeah.
So what were you doing before then?
I was in politics. So yeah, again, normal, completely normal. When I was 20, I was elected to Auckland Council, and particularly the Manereo local board as a elected member. And so I spent 3 years from 2016 to 2019, October 2019, as a politician for my local community, which I have been raised in. Yeah, so completely normal. Yeah, so that's what I've been getting up to.
And so what inspired you to start By New Zealand Made, now known as Chooice?
Yes. So in between my political career, about 2017, I set up a small business myself. I called it a side hustle and have always called it a side hustle. It's an event management business called Eventer. And I had set up that business because I had just got a graduate diploma in event management. So while I was in politics, I decided I'll do online study, got qualified, and thought, yeah, let's set up a side hustle just to keep up the skills and the knowledge that I've just learned. So I'll set up this event business, and it's been doing relatively well since 2017. Like I said, it was a side hustle, so it wasn't something that I was constantly pushing or driving forward. But then when this year came along, actually it picked up quite significantly and was doing like really well. And I was really happy with it. And then, lockdown hit. And as we know, things started to go on the chopping board, and events and gatherings was one of the first things to go very quickly. And so subsequently, my business contracts that I had lined up for particular events, I lost those pretty much immediately. Some of them got postponed, but postponed indefinitely, because we didn't know how long we would be in lockdown for. And so overnight, I saw my very thriving business suddenly lose all of its contracts overnight. And so, that kind of prompted me to look at what I could do with my very limited resources. And when I say limited, I mean I have no money as a small business to invest in marketing. I can't buy Facebook ads. I can't buy Google ads. But I would like to get my business out there somehow so that I could do something during the lockdown period. And that was because I had noticed that even though other event businesses were, losing contracts as well, they were pivoting. And that they were pivoting in the sense that they were going into the virtual event space, and so I wanted a slice of that, and so I thought, I need to get my business out there, hopefully bring in some more clients to possibly do some virtual events. Through my research and looking around, I just came to the conclusion that and I don't know if you're a member of these, but there's a few Facebook groups that exist that are like community grapevines, community spread the news, and notice boards. I thought, those aren't really like appropriate places to promote my business. In fact, a lot of Facebook groups that exist don't allow self-promotion. So that was a barrier I was coming up against. And like I said before, I didn't have money to buy Facebook ads. I didn't have money to buy Google ads. So how do I get my business out there? And so I thought, what if I just create a group that's purely self-promotion? So go against the grain of what is a normality, and create a Facebook group that is purely self-promotion. And so my original intent was to create a group where I myself could promote Eventer, my event business. But the group grew so quickly that actually to this day, I haven't had the chance to promote that business yet. In fact, I've gone and started a new one entirely. So I guess that's the long story short version. Yeah.
It's so cool because what's happened is exactly the same problem that you had. Hundreds of thousands of people went through the same issue, and so you solved a problem for so many people.
Yeah.
So many people.
I mean, that was I was probably a bit naive in the sense that I didn't actually realize, what I was getting myself into. I was almost, I don't know if selfish is the right word, but, I was looking at my own business thinking, I've lost all of my contracts overnight. I've lost all of my income, not actually realizing that literally everybody else was going through the same thing, if not worse. And so setting up the group almost was like the thing that everybody else was searching for. Nobody else had money for Google or Facebook ads, especially during a time like this when money is already stretched enough.
I know that when you started your page, I even started telling my clients, just get on this page and put your shit up. And I was like, and be ready. Like literally be ready to have stuff to sell. And just, I don't care. Don't worry about whatever. Just get your stuff together, put it on here. And they literally were making money, and it was awesome. It was so good. And what small businesses really, really needed after lockdown. And people had saved money for 7 weeks and wanted to spend some money. And suddenly there was a platform for people to go on and support small businesses. How awesome that our community, our country got behind our small businesses and did that.
Absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. Now let's talk a little bit, because I know that you guys were pulling out some stats around wahine, and a lot of wahine have lost their jobs and started side hustles. Tell me a little bit about that, how you've discovered that and what that looks like on your platform.
Yeah, so the bad news is in amongst all of the other bad news of 2020 is that 10,000 out of the 11,000 recently unemployed due to COVID are in fact women, which is very significant. And we know this is because women dominated industries such as travel and hospitality, those of which have been hugely impacted. And they also dominated part-time and casual work, which again, the roles that have been very significantly impacted. And what I saw in the group was the majority of people that were posting were women. In fact, when we look on the back end of our Facebook group, 80% out of the 500,000 members in our Facebook group are actually women. There's only a small percentage, 20% are male. And so what that tells us is that women were not just, doom and gloom, sitting on their asses going, oh, poor me. They were in fact pivoting very quickly and trying to think up of ways that they job, but actually they can't go to work for XYZ reasons. A lot of women have been pivoting very quickly to try and essentially just allow their family to survive during this time, keep food on their table, keep a roof over their head. And so, as I was saying, a lot of the posts in the group are in fact from women. Some of them have recently started businesses as a result of lockdown or recent redundancies, or a lot of them as well have just always owned a business, a side hustle, like myself. Do most people have one job nowadays? I feel like everybody has like one or two jobs. So just like myself, I've had a side hustle since 2017, and I feel like when the group was launched, a lot of the businesses that were being posted from women were their side hustles as well, like myself. They might have jobs, but they might have had reduced hours, and so now's the time for their side hustle to shine.
It will be really interesting to see. I mean, I was talking about with Andy last night about it. Be interesting to see if business or just work for people looks different. Like if we go back to what you were saying about your dad, and it was the same. My mum was home for the majority of the time when I was, being able to grow up, until I sort of went to primary school and started to work more. But, generally they'd be home, and it doesn't happen these days because people just can't really afford it. So I wonder if these side hustles and these small businesses that are starting to evolve or come out are going to be the beginnings of maybe wahine or even our tāne being able to work from home and spend more time with their families, unlike what we've been able to, especially since we had 7 weeks of being at home stuck with our families and seeing what that looks like and felt like. And some of us thought, actually, I've really missed this. So it'll be interesting to see what business looks like for the future.
Yeah, and I think what this year has proven as well is that work-life balance has been work-life balance in the sense that you can work from home and still have really great outputs as an individual in a company can be done. You can let your staff work from home and they will continue to create results and impact for your company. Whereas, prior to lockdown and working from home being a thing, companies always had leases on buildings, an office or headquarters. But now I wonder how many businesses have probably just not even bothered to renew their lease in this point of time, not because of financial reasons, or might be, but just because they realize actually we're well and capable from working from home, and in fact it's working for everyone, and in fact it's making our staff do better actually. So yeah, that's a really interesting conversation. Maybe you could have one day. It's a rabbit hole one.
Well, we've started having that conversation at our office. We sent out a questionnaire to all of our team and said, would you rather work from home or work in the office? And the majority want to work from home. And I think, pre-COVID, people were hemming and hawing about this working from home and how productive are we going to be. Then COVID hits and you're just like, well, I don't have a choice. I need home. So I'm just going to hope that you do work. And then what a lot of businesses found is actually my staff are working more. And so it's like a proven model that it can work. You've got to have some processes and systems in place and some good technology, I guess. But it definitely can work, which is awesome.
Definitely.
So tell me, who have you had around you? Like, so you had your side hustle, who have been like really instrumental in your life that have helped you to build your business, or that you've taken inspiration from or have mentored you over these few years?
With Eventa in particular, so like I said, I set that up in 2017. I would have been 19 at the time when I set up Eventa. And I remember that I didn't reach out to anybody for help and for that one in particular. I'm a big girl, I'm going to sort it out myself. So Google was my supporter for Eventa. But most recently with, with Chooice, like I've had really prominent figures such as Pat McPhee and Monty Beetham and Julian Knowles, who have wrapped around me and provided me with the support during, I started the Facebook group 6 months ago now. And like I said, prior to that, I was in politics. Not really, I wouldn't say I had substantial business experience or knowledge or skills. And so those first few months were really crucial for me to have that wraparound support, because I was being approached by so many people with proposals or people wanting me to make really important decisions or sign things. And as someone, I consider myself a young person. I think I'm 23. I'm 23, and I felt it was really crucial that I couldn't make any of these decisions or move forward without having that wraparound support around me, because I want people around me who's been there, done that, failed, got up again, can live to tell that tale. And it's like I said, I didn't have any prior business knowledge or experience. And so I found it really hard to discern what was a good decision and what was going to be a bad decision during the last 6 months. And so that business support was really crucial. And actually it's enabled me to take this Facebook group and what we've seen of it to where it is now, and take it to a whole nother level, maybe a couple levels actually. And amazing. And I made an intentional effort as well to make sure that I wasn't just surrounding myself with males. Sorry, Sorry, my
Yeah.
mental. But I felt
Sorry,
that
my male mentors.
I felt that, you know, I needed some balance as well. Not dissing the lads or the boys, but it's really good to have that balance in there. And so I reached out to a few ladies as well who have affied me during this time, and just made sure that I've held my really close friends who have been through my political journey as well, pulled them closer as well, and just allowed them to affi me during this period. So yeah.
That's cool. It's really it's really good to be able to do that. And I think you're not the only person who hasn't not wanted to ask for help. And then, you know, I mean, luckily for you, you did. And, you know, you've been able to take your business to the next level. But so many people don't. I mean, as an accountant, we see that a lot. They don't ask for help. They get themselves into all sorts of trouble, and then they come and see you, and you're like, "Why did you do that?
Yeah,
Why
they
did
see
you
you
come
when
and
it's
talk
bad.
to us?" And I'm just like, this could have been stopped if you just come and seen us, or, you know, just come and asked somebody, anybody. Oh, I know, but it's like we're just too whakama, or maybe we don't know who to ask, or you know, it's just so.
Well, yeah,
so
like
difficult.
I said, when you're new to this space of business, everything could be so overwhelming. You know, there's just so many things to do to just initially get set up, and then like, where do you find information, really helpful information that's not biased? Yeah, and there's almost like a stigma that everything costs as well. You know, like every little step that you take in the business world is going to cost you something. You know, you want to click this link to get this PDF that's going to help you. You know, it's going to cost you $5. So yeah, I can understand completely that there is definitely like whakama and shame around like wanting to ask for help, because again, you know, how much is that help going to cost me?
Yeah. And I think that's probably the problem, is people look at it as a cost instead of thinking it as an investment. But it's also just like, well, what is the return on my investment for this money? And trust. I don't really know you. Do I trust you? And I guess that's potentially an issue that might come about with these new side hustles, especially if they don't have friends or family or people around them that are in business that at least they can go and talk to. It's really hard to have conversations with non-business people about business stuff, especially when they're bitching about their bosses. And, you know, and you're just like, I am a boss. I know what it's like to be a boss. And so you're kind of like, just be quiet in the cheap seats, you know?
I'll just
I'll just sit and nod. So tell me, you guys have gone from here to here in 6 months. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you guys have overcome, or that you've had to overcome?
Yeah, like I said before, my biggest challenge was having to discern what was going to be a good decision, and having to discern what was going to be a bad decision without having any prior business knowledge or experience to go off to make those decisions. And so that was my biggest hurdle. And yeah, I'll be honest, like, I sat there for a few weeks wanting to just do this on my own, mainly because I was whakama to reach out and get that wraparound support that I needed. And then when I eventually got there, you know, just didn't regret it at all. So if you're watching, go get some wraparound support. It's crucial. But that was my biggest hurdle, was just initially reaching out and asking for help. And I mean, that doesn't even apply to asking for business mentors. I remember in the first month of the Facebook group going live in April, by the 4th week, I was still doing the Facebook group by myself. So I had no moderators, no team. And I was sitting there looking at the posts in the queue, and there was 4,000. And that was the point that I realized I needed help, because there's no way I'm going to get through 4,000 posts, keep everybody happy. You know, because at that point, the turnaround would have been like, hey guys, sorry, we got your post, it's in the queue, but you're going to have to wait like 4 weeks for me to get to it, because I'm doing it by myself. So that was one of the hurdles as well, was just that initial, like, handing that over. And the reason why that was is because I was very protective in the first couple of weeks, for rightful reasons. I had created this monster and I wanted to protect it at all costs, from people who didn't have good intentions, protect it. And so being vulnerable and letting my guard down and allowing people to come in to help me moderate and things like that was a big journey for me. Like I said, it took me to about the 5th week to actually bring in. And at that point, when I finally brought people in, I brought in 20 people to help me with that queue, because that's how bad it was. And the worst point of it was when it hit 10,000 posts waiting in the queue, and the turnaround was actually 4 weeks at that time, even with the 20 voluntary moderators. The biggest hurdle was the initial letting my guard down, being vulnerable, and allowing people to come in. The second one was the second step to that, which was the group is growing substantially. I'm getting all of these proposals, but I don't have the knowledge to go and make good decisions. So actually, I need to reach out for that help. And I guess my third and current challenge would be, now that I'm the managing director of Chooice, I am absolutely learning as I go. And trying to get this, I guess, startup off the ground, and allow it to continue making impact and create value for people, while valuing my team. And there's just a whole lot more elements at play now, and I'm absolutely in the deep end, but I'm loving it.
And that's the most important thing, right? Is that you're still enjoying it.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Unless it's 8:30 at night and you're like, I'm still working.
Yes. No,
you're doing so much good. You're doing so much good for so many people out there. I'm sure there are a lot of families out there that are very grateful to the platform that you've created.
Yeah, and I mean, I was able to leave so while I was doing this Facebook page, Facebook group, not many people know, but I was working full time at the same time, for a law firm, and so I was able to leave that at the end of July, start of August, and it's been incredible. It's been an incredible last 6 months. My life has been completely flipped upside down. When I lost my election last year in October, see, I didn't say that. When I lost my election last year, October, I would have never anticipated that I would be doing this, 6 months later. I was in such a doom and gloom moment. I had lost my re-election. My community, I've been rejected from my community. I'm not going to do community work anymore. I just trusted the process, got back on my feet, hustled, got a new job, hustled, and just completely trusted the process and had faith that things would work out and that I'll find my feet again, and I'd find my mojo, in sense of, I like to think I'm a creative and innovative person. That's why I have Inventor. And obviously I found my mojo again.
Yes. It's a perfect example of everything happens for a reason. Imagine if you had have been re-elected, would you be doing this? Maybe, but would you have been able to devote the time? Yeah, it would have been a lot harder. So we thank your electric for not voting for you.
Thanks, guys.
It was written in the stars. We thank you very much. The whole of New Zealand, all of our small businesses, we thank you. Oh no. So I know you've shared so many tips, and we've talked about, asking for help and all that sort of stuff. But is there any other last tips before we finish up today that you'd like to leave for our small business owners that are out there today?
I mean, I am a baby in the business world, and I have constantly acknowledged that. And so I'm thankful for everyone's patience, as they have. People are literally watching me right now grow up in the business space. But I guess my biggest tip to people, from what I've learned from the last 6 months is like, don't be scared or fearful of actually reaching out for support. And by support, I mean, mentors, people to wrap around you and provide you with insight and knowledge and skills. I mean, if you want your business to grow, you need to be constantly learning as well yourself. That upskilling as an individual plays directly into your business. The more you learn as an individual, the more that your business will grow. And so don't be afraid to reach out for mentorship and guidance, for tips and advice, especially if you've got really important things on your plate that you need to make really important strategic decisions on. It pays to have conversations with people, whether you pay literally or just go have those conversations with people, get second opinions, get third opinions. I practice that constantly with my moderators. So if there's something that we're unsure about, I get second or third opinions from the team. And it's just those different lived experiences and perspectives that plays into making the best decisions as possible. So yeah, don't be afraid to have those conversations. Yeah.
I think that's so important. And you know what? It doesn't matter if you're a startup business or you've been in business for a long time, because even our big corporates make mistakes sometimes and they still need to grow and develop. We're always growing. And if we're not growing, then we're dying. So we've always got to be growing and learning. So this is where people can find you at chooice.co.nz. You've got a platform which has got over 1,000 businesses. How many businesses are on there at the moment?
So as of today, actually, we hit over 2,000 businesses on chooice.co.nz, as well as we've made $200,000 as a result of the website. Because we have no success or listing fees, none of that's going into my pocket, unfortunately. I'm still broke as ever. But we've enabled $200,000 to go back into the economy, back into the community, and into the pockets of, Kiwis. More money to them. So
that's awesome. And Uliana says, girls power, amazing story. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. So thank you so much for being with us this evening to share a cup of tea with me, to share your story. It's really awesome to see our wahine out there just smashing it, because we actually rule the world. The guys just took a little while to realize that, I think.
Pacific excellency is what I like to say.
That's cool. Very cool. So everyone, tomorrow night we have Adeline and Nitrous, who are a Samoan business, kind of similar to yours at Chooice. It's called Makiki Online. So they have an online platform. They started off selling stuff for people online, and now they're getting into recruitment and all sorts of stuff. So I'm looking forward to talking to them tomorrow. So yes, they're based in Samoa. So Sarah for joining me this evening, and everyone else, I will see you tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock. Mā te wā.